statement issued by the former financial minister, who's more loyal to the Christian nations, Mr. Mangala Samaraveera of Bihar Parliament government of Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. He says that the present government, which on 16th July 2020 under the Gazette 21/218/21 had restricted the import like restriction like import duration of the days from 90 and 180 letter of credits only. That means that means the President Gotabaya Rajapaksha's government for 175 types of goods, like specific imported goods, when it comes to importing, President Gotabaya has restricted through this Gazette 218/81 for more than 175 imports to the country. The duration of the letter of credits restricted only for 90 and 180 days. Only to under 90 and 180 day restrictions only, the letter of credits were allowed to open by the Finance Minister of Sri Lanka. Also, because I think now when the the days validity period of the letter of credits, that means had been restricted here. So when the validity period had been restricted, that means because of the long term, in the short term only, because of this financial, US dollar, IMF not bailing out Sri Lanka, I think, and due to these risks, I think the issuance period had probably been, limited to 90 to 180 days, and most of the goods, due to the pandemic also, the imports had been restricted. So now, due to these reasons, according to Mr. Mangala Samaraveera, based on the USAN's letter of credits, and the site letters of credit, actually the now, according to Mr. Mangala Samaraveera, what he says is, when it comes to the site letter of credit and USAN's letter of credits, it was allowed for commercial banks in Sri Lanka to open such letter of credits, both these type of letter of credits. However, due to the restrictions on the foreign exchange, especially the US dollar, most of the commercial banks refuse to further process letter of credits, and they also restrict issuance of letter of credit only for 90 days or 180 days, or 90 or 120 or 180 days. For few letter of credit only, they it seems like a permit by the commercial banks. So I think central bank also is not getting involved into this. Now we know that the central bank had been created by the US federal bank system. So then if things go down like this, I think now here it's important to look at this issue further and see now in this case. Now, what happens is, they say, he says that Mr. Mangala Samaraveera says this. He says that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka had empowered the commercial banks and other financial institutions to do foreign borrowing. Then, accordingly, Mr. Mangala Samaraveera says, when the government of the Sri Lanka Central Bank cannot obtain foreign exchange, then due to this Fitch rating downgrading, of course, now commercial banks also face the same issue of borrowing foreign exchange, and then they will take some time to commercial banks to know how to do this. So, and accordingly, Mr. Mangala Samaraveera says, during the last 18 months, the wall tiles for homes and the floor tiles for the toilet bathrooms and the toilets and the the other sanitary equipment of the for the like pipes and showers needed for the bathrooms and the toilets, commodes, and also the tires for vehicles and the fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, but chemical fertilizer of course is banned and by the president, and then a lot of such import things have been restricted, uh, and they say, he says, Mr. Mangalam Samaraveera says, he says that under these restrictions, still under the cover, refusing letter of credits like Usain's credit letter of credits and site letter of credits on a restricted basis only for 90, 120 and 180 days. Still, while refusing the commercial central bank and the commercial banks which are supervised by the central bank, refusing this system to the normal business community, the government is indirectly under the carpet to its friendly political business organizations are giving favors to access foreign currency in the country. Now, this is another problem. That means there are business organizations that are supporting the government, right? So, these business organizations are mostly Roman Catholic entrepreneurs. So, they have links to Roman Catholic Christian nations in this situation, like the Derna Media Network, Hiru Media Network, and so many Roman Catholic business entrepreneurs have, and the Roman Catholic sponsored business banks, etc. They are trading organizations. They have links to their friends in Roman Catholic or Anglican or whatever the Christianity. They have links to the Western countries more easily, right? Because they have a cause here, so they are all Christians here. So, according to the government of Sri Lanka, exploit this and give more foreign currency to their Roman Catholic business people to thrive, and they thrive, undermining the indigenous business community because of the government, this political maneuvering to, make sure that the country get the required imports. So here, once again, it becomes a religious divide then in the country due to this IMF refusal of bailout package. So now, what they say, what Mr. Mangala Samaraveera says is, the sugar, palm oil, of course, is good to stop, but motor vehicle spare part issuance licenses, government has stopped in order to save foreign currency. And now, accordingly, he says all these have in any case it was not successful to handle this foreign currency crisis. So, or whatever the shortfall, according to Mr. Mangala Samaraveera. But I don't think it will be a crisis because there are ways out of this problem. But the thing is, it's the Western nations who exploit the religion and the politics. A creator God created the universe, creator God sustains, and creator God decides the allocation of the wealth based on the fact that whoever who follows the creator God's religion get the wealth. But that philosophy must change because that's not going to work any longer. And now the thing is, because nobody can prove no there is a creator God who created the universes or multiverse. So such a creator God sustain human life. That is the reason. So beliefs can't do. We cannot go with belief because beliefs fail to explore the universe up to now, beyond the space-time universe, right? Even beyond our galaxy. That is the reason. So now, according to Mr. Mangala Samaraveera says, this government, just for political gain, rupees 600 billion, that means from about 1/3 of its tax income, had like what he says is now when the when Mr. Gotabaya, let me start it again, when the Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa got elected in 2019 latter part, the government income was 1,895 Sri Lankan rupees in billions, not millions, billions. So that's a large amount. And then after this government got elected, after general elections, government has given more than 600 billion tax reliefs to support its entrepreneurs who are supporting the government, right? So 600 billion tax benefits have been given to to government entrepreneurs. Probably that refers to Christian nations backed Roman Catholic entrepreneurs and Anglican Christian entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka, like Derana TV, Hiruma Media Network, etc., etc. So here, this is another reason for crisis, income tax revenue crisis of the government. So now, because of this situation, what Mr. Mangala Samaraveera's idea is that he says so many other things, and what ultimately he says that about the Fitch rating downgrading and the sovereign credit rating matter, and also Sri Lanka's letter of credit acceptance has been refused, according to he alleges, by international banks, and then he says confirmed letter of credits only the international banks request from Sri Lankan import community. So as a result, because of the pandemic and man-made pandemic, the President Gotabaya also has created a man-made pandemic, another second-degree man-made pandemic in Sri Lanka. No, sorry, because of the first man-made pandemic, another man-made crisis had been made in Sri Lanka under President Gotabaya during the last 18 months, according to Mr. Mangala Samaraveera. So therefore, this everything has become like a dream now, according to him, and then our foreign exchange has gone down to $4 billion, according to him, and then now accordingly, Sri Lanka has come to the doorstep of a crisis, according to Mr. Mangala Samaraveera, and medical, pharmaceutical supply shortages, etc. So therefore, he says to follow the instructions of the Christian nations, rather who believes in a we just don't believe doing things right that way, which we cannot, since we believe taking control of the brain cells 100%, taking the mind perfection and the perfection of the cognition process and the cognition process development 100%. So we cannot base our work on a belief like that. Belief are there for people who are not developed through brain, mind, and the cognition process to 100%. So, but therefore, Mr. Mangala Samaraveera's, I think these proposals are rejected to follow the Christian nations advisors or the international advisors to meet the crisis faced by Sri Lankan people, because we do not go with belief. According to the Gautama Buddha's teachings, there's nothing called beliefs are only for people who go on a wrong philosophy, but according to Gautama Buddha's teachings, certain principles, as in science, leads to the perfect decisions of the brain 100% developed, mind perfection, and the cognition process development and perfection. So therefore, Mr. Mangala Samaraveera's all these allegations and advices are rejected.